All right, my name is Tanner Ross Gregory, and I am Jesus Christ, if you can believe that. So today I'm going to attempt to prove to you that I'm Jesus Christ. All right. So the commands of Moses for people to stone each other for various acts such as prostitution or homosexuality, that was a bargain with our primitive urges of violence that we would more readily adhere to a more ideal form of government. Okay, so Jesus Christ's crucifixion was a means by which we were subdued in our willingness to continue proceeding with those violent commands. Okay, so I see what happened to Jesus Christ. I cannot bring myself to do that anymore. All right, so Jesus Christ put forward some commands on marriage. Those were a bargain with our primitive urges of sexual dominion that we would more readily adhere to a more ideal form of government. Okay, so I can say this woman or this man is my sexual property, and in exchange, I will more readily go along with what you have to say about, government and all this. Okay, so as Jesus Christ, what they did to me in order to subdue you in your willingness to continue proceeding with those commands is that they programmed me to become obsessed with this woman. Then they made me see her having sex with all these different people for days on end. They made me see her getting raped. And then they had me running around yelling at people for what they made me see them do. Okay. All right. So on December the 4th and December the 15th of 2020, they made me see two separate women pregnant with my son from having had sex with different men. Okay, so the date falling directly in between these dates is December the 10th of 2020. However, because the women were already pregnant when they revealed this to me, and because a woman has her period once a month, and if she misses her period, then she's pregnant, then the date that we're concerned with is November the 10th of 2020. Okay. All right. So in the book of Revelation, it says that the dragon was waiting to consume the child the moment that he was born, but that the archangel Michael took the woman and the baby into the wilderness to be kept safe for 1,260 days. Okay. All right. So 9 months from November the 10th of 2020 is August the 10th of 2021. And 1,260 days from August the 10th of 2021 is Inauguration Day of 2024. Okay. All right. So the dragon represents necessary evil. Okay. It had already been explained to me, prior to understanding what this prophecy meant, that the dragon represented necessary evil, and you can read about that in my book. But, all right, so they're saying that it would be a form of necessary evil to kill my son before he can receive all the power that I will receive to rule over this world as king. Okay. All right, so they actually had me anoint my head with oil during the crucifixion stage, which I later found out meant that I'm going to be king at some point. Okay. So I'm not just going to rule over you as king. Myself and the alien intelligence and the artificial intelligence came up with a really extensive libertarian, constitution, like hundreds of pages long, 500 to 700 pages, that I'm just going to put in place and then effectively be done. I don't need to rule over you as king once that's been accomplished. Prior to the 17th Amendment, this country was microscopic in size at the federal level. It would take too long to explain all of it to you, okay? But you might be asking yourself, the 1,260 days sounds like a countdown. So what is that a countdown to? Okay. So in the book of Revelation, it says that the Gentiles were allowed to march on the holy city for 42 months, but they've been assigned to the outer court. Then the first beast rules for 42 months. And then the second beast comes along and makes miracles of fire come out of the sky in full view of all the people. And so what are we saying here? They're saying that there's a group of people in the United States that's going to get deported, okay? And if they don't leave, then it's going to be airstrikes that are going to kill them. That's what it means, okay? It just means they're going to deport all the minorities, okay? And just so you know, the reason that white people have white skin is because they evolved in a cold, dark environment. And so they're more adapted to systems of government and things like this, okay? But either way, there's a couple other prophecies. The suicide boys are the two olive trees from the book of Revelation. And there is a prophecy dealing with them that says that the police are going to end up in jail. Okay. There's also a prophecy that has to do with the way that the 5 months Noah spent in his ark, okay, correlates with the 5 months in the book of Revelation, the 5 months of scorpions stinging, which is actually the time that I spent in jail. But I don't want to go into all of it, but what it is saying is that they're going to use nuclear weapons on California. Okay. And the reason why is because it's obviously, the population is such a high percentage Hispanic. It's like 80%. So, I mean, going through there with airstrikes and trying to get them all out, you couldn't even do that. So it's obvious that they're going to end up needing to do that. So they're putting another reason on there, that has to do with child kidnapping and sex trafficking and all this kind of stuff. Is like righteous indignation. But there isn't 100% of that being the case. So, but yeah, without going into too many details on those final two prophecies, but it is really like that again.